So a game plan call is a free 1 hour kind of deep dive offer that we kind of look at for established retailers who maybe feel stuck. They're probably drowning in inventory. They haven't paid themselves in a while. They're doing everything and they feel like everything's dependent on them and they just can't get out of that cycle.
Welcome back to our Richer Retailer podcast. And look who is with me today, our very own retail maven, the incredible Krystal Perry. How are you, Krystal?
Oh, I'm so good, Cathy. It's so good to see you.
Well, I'm so glad. I think this was your idea to do this. And I'm so grateful because we're pulling back the curtain on something that retailers have been asking about, which is Krystal's game plan calls. These calls have helped so many store owners go from being overwhelmed and underwater to having so much more clarity. It's incredible. If you've ever thought to yourself, I'm working so hard, why isn't this working? Why aren't I getting to where I want to get? This is the episode for you. So let's start with you, Krystal Perry. What have you been doing all your life?
Oh, wow. Well, that's quite a long story. So we'll kind of cut it in half. I've been in retail for about 25 years now. I started when I was, 12. No, I'm kidding. 15-ish, I think. And, started working with small businesses, small boutiques, and I loved it. I love to shop, so I love being in that atmosphere and love the window displays. It's just always been in my blood. And as I grew, I worked for a British brand that came here to America and I helped them grow their West Coast business, their off-price business, and just really helped build the division. And it was so much fun. I learned so much. And really looking back at it now, I feel like this was kind of my first real client of taking every aspect of the business and moving those levers to see how we can change things and what kind of impact we can make. And I'm really, really proud of what we did there.
Wow. Well, and honestly, I know you're being modest about your incredible success. One of the things I'm really impressed with is it wasn't like you just worked for a huge corporation. You actually talk about thinking outside of the box and bringing a different perspective to their business, which you now do to our clients. I'm so grateful for. Can you explain what you did, how you turned around their whole off-price business?
Yeah, absolutely. When we first started doing off price here in America, everything was very much just oh, well, this is how we always done it. This is how we do it in England, so this is how it works. And we weren't communicating our promotions properly. They weren't they weren't really looking at the margins. They were just really doing things just like they always did. And after taking a little bit of time and analyzing the business and analyzing the client and what else they were looking for, we were able to change their signage, the marketing promotions, their margin. Oh my gosh, the margin was a huge impact that, the changes we made there, they ended up rolling out globally. And it's really impactful to see the way we took it from just 3 stores here in the US to, we had, I think, 15 off price and then ultimately, I think about 70 or 80 across the US.
Wow. Yeah, I
Yeah.
ask you to share that because that's really significant. And that's,
Mhm.
you took something that actually was working fine, right? It's not that they weren't working, but you saw an opportunity.
Of course. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And really just looking at the business, when you dive into the numbers, when you start digging into it a little bit more, you can see where the opportunity is and what changes you can make. And yeah, it made a huge difference for us. And it
Mhm.
was great. Hmm.
Well, and I would also argue that it wasn't just the numbers though, because you were really looking at all, I mean, that was part of it. I mean, for sure,
Yes.
but it wasn't just that. I'm just so impressed that you were able to just like take out all preconceived notions about it and look at just the facts of things and then reshape it and create something new from it.
Right. Yeah. We really had to look at it the different set of eyes because they came with this, oh, well, this is what we do in England, so it should work here. And really, it was understanding that actually your customer's different here. You've got to look
Mhm.
at things
Mhm.
differently. And so kind of stripping it back and then layering things back in to really
Mhm.
rebuild it
Mhm.
makes a huge difference. And just
Right.
because it's off price doesn't mean you shouldn't have the same level of standards and
Right.
sales service with your
Mhm.
team. So
Mhm.
that definitely should still stay
Mhm.
there. But yeah, there's definitely some big key changes that you can make for the American client.
Wow. Well, the other thing that just occurred to me that I never put together until I heard you talk about that is that you're a powerhouse with teams. You've had so much experience with teams. And honestly, I think that some of your experience in looking at that brand had a big impact on the way you
Mhm.
also led teams.
Absolutely. They were very team driven and, all about their people. And so that was really the hub of it. They knew you've got to really take care of your people. And that is where the passion will grow. It was about the people, the
Hmm.
product, and the passion. We always talked about that. And that'll
Hmm.
ultimately give you your fourth P, profit. So that's really core of where it starts. So
Right.
I think that's really what drove me when I became so passionate about managing people
Hmm.
and how to, get them to work for you, get their buy-in.
And communicate with them, get them to understand it well.
Yes.
And that's what is so powerful and what you bring to these game plan calls that I really want people to understand. That's the reason why I spent all the time going in your background is because you bring all this to then talking to a retailer about their business. And so what exactly is a game plan call and who is it for?
Right. It's a lot of, I see a lot of clients, like we just had one, Debbie, who, she wants to double her business, but she can't. She's constantly putting out fires. She's constantly doing those to-dos. She can't strategize. There's just no time to do those things. We have this other great client who's growing her business. She wants to grow her business. She wants to hand her business off to her children and develop them, have them be able to learn these strategies. So we're working with her now to help not only open more stores, but
Mhm.
also hopefully take more off her plate so she can step back and have some free time to live her life. So
Mhm. As
it's,
well as giving confidence to her kids to step fully into what they're
yes.
they're doing too.
Exactly. So this call is really where we map out where they want to go and really what's standing in their way. And it's not about, a sales pitch or anything like that. It's about really taking this strategic coaching session
Mhm.
and seeing what the next steps need to be. And if we're a great fit, I can really show you how we can help you with those next steps. And if not, you still walk away with clarity and knowing where to go.
Yeah, that's the part of it that I really wanted people to understand is that no matter where you are in your business, what we care about at Retail Mavens is we care about you being richer in every way. And
Yes.
sometimes that is leaving your business. Like we have a whole life
Right.
after retail program. And so sometimes I know that you've talked to people about that and you've said maybe
Hmm.
it's right. The thing that's so great is because you've had all this experience with teams, you can kind of hear between the lines with people. And so you can
Hmm.
understand when you're talking to somebody and that they're just done. And sometimes they just need permission to know that.
Absolutely. That's exactly it. And I feel like so many clients at the end of it say, this was just, it felt so good to walk through this. It felt
Hmm.
so good to kind of get that eye-opening moment to really
Hmm.
see what needs to happen.
Hmm. Knowing you the way I do, I know that you don't just wing this. I know that you have
No.
a set plan. Can you actually walk through what the sections are that you of the
Yeah.
plan?
Yeah, absolutely. You're right. I am a planner. So I really have a guided framework that I like to use. Really make sure we cover everything and really dig deeper into it. So what we do is first we really talk about what their future looks like. What do they want to achieve? Is it stepping back? Is it growth? Building their sales? What is that? Then we really talk about their obstacles. What's in their way? What's blocking them from getting there? Is it time? Is it cash flow? Maybe it's their team. So we really kind of dig into that.
Hmm.
We also
Hmm.
look at where they currently are. So
Wait,
we
can
really,
we just go back to the obstacles really super quick?
of course,
Do you find that people are clear on what their obstacles are?
not always. Sometimes people are. Some people can identify and say, I just don't have enough time, or I know I'm the bottleneck. But a lot of the time, people are like, I don't know. I feel like I'm doing everything I can, but I don't know why this isn't working.
Hmm.
And so, really, when we start digging into certain areas, especially where they currently stand, the present, when we look at what their sales are, but what the structure of their business is, what their margin is, how much inventory they have, that can really help start to identify what these obstacles are and how we can kind of move past them.
Hmm.
A lot of people don't. And I feel like people feel like they should know. what they were saying or what their obstacles are, but they don't. And that's not always a realistic expectation. So
Mhm.
that's something that we really kind of dig into and try to discover for them as we go
Mhm.
through the
Mhm.
call. We also talk about, like like I said, their present business, what their current sales are, what their current inventory is, their margin, their marketing. What does that really look like? We talk about the impact. What is it really costing them to be doing these things
Mhm.
and to be looking at their inventory, how much inventory they have, and where do they feel like they're missing?
Mhm.
What are they missing in this? And maybe they might say, I'm not missing anything. I have everything going. But some might say, actually, this isn't how I want it to be running. I want it to be an organized, system and
Mhm.
process.
Mhm.
And that really helps them kind of see the areas that they feel like they need to kind of dig into next.
Right.
Um,
I certainly have
yeah.
found that measuring the impact of staying where you are is something that I wish I had been aware of sooner. I think that's
Mhm.
the one of the big powers of a coaching call, because I think so many people aren't used to working with coaches. And I
Right.
tell you, once you work with a coach, you always will, because it's so powerful the way they can see things that you can't see. We always talk about, if you're holding the frame of the picture, if you're in the frame, you can't
Yep.
see the picture.
Yeah.
And that's what the beauty is of what you do, is that you go through all of their things, their margin, their inventory, the way their team is set up, that's their structure,
Mhm.
the basics of their marketing, and how they use their time. And then you're able to say that, listen, if you really want to get here, this is what it's costing you to stay where you are. Because sometimes you're like, well, I don't know, it's not that bad. You kind of think, well,
Right.
it's fine, but
Right.
gosh.
Exactly. Exactly. You've also got to talk to them about like what's the reason we're doing this? Like why are we having this conversation?
Hmm.
Why now? What happens if nothing changes?
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
these conversations really kind of go deep into those areas. And most people say that it's the first time they've really had this clarity and have really dug into some of these areas.
Hmm.
And I think that is so helpful for people
Hmm.
to really
Hmm.
examine each section individually,
Hmm.
almost with a guide in a sense.
Yeah, right.
Hmm.
So you start with the future, where they want to go. You talk about their obstacles. You talk about the present, where they are. You talk about the
Hmm.
impact of staying where they are. And then what else is part of your framework work?
Where do they really see the business being the desired state, essentially? What systems do they want to see? What strategy they feel is missing?
Hmm.
And then the reasons. What's the reason that's really driving this? Is it the cost, the emotional weight that you're feeling? What happens if you don't do anything? What's the why behind
Hmm.
it? So
Hmm.
that's really
Hmm.
where it goes.
Hmm. Yeah,
Hmm.
that is so super deep. I know that so many store owners get all wrapped up in the day to day, putting out fires and getting
Hmm.
everything done, that they don't ever look that deeply in their business, do they?
No, they really don't. And kind of like what you just said, they can't see the forest for the trees, right? They can't see the
Hmm.
picture because they're in the frame. It's
Hmm.
once you kind of step back and think about these individual pieces and really look, we can really see what the obstacles are that are standing in your way, where the areas that we're missing money, where are the areas that we can pick up things, but we can clearly identify the issues and then lay out the most impactful next step. And that's the most important piece.
Right. I can see how that's really powerful.
Mhm.
What's your favorite question to ask people? Or is that crazy to
My
ask?
no, I love it. I love it. My favorite question to ask is what happens if nothing changes? Because I don't think people really think about that. They think that I'm struggling to stay here. This is normal. It's almost like the burn has just slowly kind of turned up, right? And so they haven't realized they're not getting any sleep. They're working so hard 7 days a week and they're not taking a paycheck. And this is just normal. This is fine. And that's not really it. So when you stop and think about this question, I had one client that said to me, gosh, if nothing changes, I'm not gonna be able to afford my kids' private school and I'm not gonna be able to send them to the school that I want to in this area. I'm not gonna be able to continue with my apartment. I'm gonna have to take downsize
Mhm, mhm,
and all those things. And when you start to really take a moment to step back and think, gosh, this is how it will continue. I can't maintain this. You're right. It's
mhm,
not sustainable. You cannot continue to run a business like that when
mhm.
it's just you doing everything and you're not even paying yourself.
Yeah, right, right. And
So,
conversely, there's also people like Michelle who everything was actually pretty fine, but she just knew she wanted something different and wasn't sure how to get there, which I think is
Absolutely.
powerful.
Absolutely. And that's the beauty of it, of the call, is like there's so many different types of clients that we see. The ones like Michelle that are like, I want to step back, I want to grow my business, but I want to be able to step back. Or like, when we were talking about Debbie earlier, Debbie is so smart. She's such a
Mhm,
go-getter.
mhm,
And it's having the help to organize this
mhm,
and get these systems in place. And then you have people who aren't happy with how much money they're making. We have another client, wants to take more as a salary.
mhm,
Yeah, absolutely. You should. And your business can support it, and let us
mhm,
show you how.
mhm.
So,
Right,
yeah.
right. You referred to the burn about the just getting hotter. Can you
Uh-huh.
explain what you were talking about when you said that? I love that example.
It's like, how do you cook a frog or how do you boil a frog? You put it in cold water and slowly turn it up, right? And then the frog, really feels it. That's exactly the same thing. You start this business and it's one little trickle down effect, and you add this onto your to-do list. Then you add this, then you think, "Oh, I can get this done. I can manage it." You see it happen with so many people, and
Mhm,
then next thing you know, they have no time to themselves. They are running this business, they're doing the marketing,
mhm,
they're doing their books, they're doing everything themselves, and they can't manage it. They're going to exhaust themselves with it. It's
mhm.
not sustainable. And that's not how we want to live life. That's
No,
not
right,
worth it.
right, right.
So,
Yeah, those, you must hear those kind of struggles a lot, right?
I do, honestly, and people always think they're alone, and they're not. I hear the same thing. I'm working 7 days a week. I'm not getting paid, or I'm not taking a salary. My team can't work without me, or they depend on everything, for me. The other that I see is too is everything's in my head, and I don't know. I don't have any systems in place, so they know how to
Mhm,
do it. So they all just come to me. It's easier for me to do it
mhm,
anyways. So yeah, it's kind of the same thing that we see, and
mhm,
the retailers don't realize, like, they're not the problem, and they're not alone.
mhm,
They're not the ones that they just don't have the right systems in place yet. And
mhm,
that's really what we focus on, is
mhm.
helping lift that kind of fog, help them kind of see what needs to change, where we need to go, and what the immediate next steps should be.
It's such a service to help people. I love
Okay.
what you said about how that game plan call is about lifting the fog. And
Mhm.
so then when you lift the fog, then what typically happens at that point of the conversation? I suppose some people feel like they know that you've made it clear for them and they can take action, or what happens then?
Absolutely. So once we're able to really identify those next steps, we talk about our program, the Profit Club. And if it's a right fit and we know we can really see the difference that we can make for them, we invite them to join the club, and we can really help give them that guided support to move
Mhm,
forward.
mhm.
But, like I said, if not, they at least know the next steps.
I think it's so valuable for them to know that so often I see store owners trying to fix problems that they were never meant to fix, that they don't
Right.
know the solution for, and they don't realize that. They think that they should be able to do it all by themselves, but there's way too many hats to wear. One of the things I love about the Profit Club is how we talk about how there's really just three hats you have to wear in your business. You have to
Mm-hmm.
wear your CEO hat, and that's where we help them learn how to be a good leader for themselves as well as for the team. And
Mm-hmm.
they have to create systems to grow and step back so you can actually watch the business grow.
Yep.
And then the CFO tab, where we talk about rebuilding their cash flow plan, and so we can predict when they're going to have cash flow crunches and take action ahead of time. And their CIO, their chief inventory officer hat, which helps them create monthly sales and inventory goals. And we fix margin leaks because there's always money that they're leaving on the
Always.
floor. We talk about
Mm-hmm.
marketing in there. And is there anything else I've forgotten? Is there
I mean, really, it's that one-on-one support that they get,
mhm,
right?
mhm,
That coaching, that direct coaching, that support from everything, their cash flow, the
mhm,
inventory, the
mhm.
marketing, the team, the accountability, but also I think the group support becomes so valuable too. The clients, they really get together, and they are able to feed ideas off of each other, because there are so many things, so many different things happening. I think that group support really, really is awesome.
You say to someone that it sounds amazing, but I'm scared to invest in it? How do you handle that?
Course, I get it. There is an investment, and that can be scary, but you're right. Like, the change is scary, but the thing is, if your store is leaking in margin, you have way too much inventory, you're already paying for the program in missed profits and
Oh, yeah.
stress and time, right? I mean, the program's already paid for at this point.
Right,
We
right.
can easily identify those things. And with those quick changes, you're able to make a huge, huge impact in the business to really move things in the right direction and find
Mhm,
you your salary,
mhm,
find you that extra money. So the real question is actually, what is it costing you to keep waiting to join?
mhm, mhm,
That's what it comes down to. And in that, we uncover all of that in our call. And sometimes the clarity alone is worth the time spent on the call. And if we're a good fit, we're able to really nail down what that looks like and how we can help you with that. Fixing it with the Profit Club can just really accelerate that growth and accelerate those changes. And that's
mhm,
what it's about. Of course, if not, you still walk away with the insights and next steps. And
mhm.
that's so beneficial.
That's the true value of it. That's what I really wanted to
Hmm.
encourage people about, that, we've been around for a very long time, Retail Mavens, and what our integrity is really important to us. And
Hmm.
we're planning on continuing to be around for a very long time.
Right.
And I really wanted people to understand how the change that just this call can happen. And,
Mm.
and I'd love to share the impact of one client that I have, this yarn store, that Cadence, she came to me because she actually had a specific issue, which sometimes happens. She
Mhm.
wanted to make up her husband's disability benefits with income from her store, and we had 6 months to do it. And like most retailers, like most store owners we talked to, she just thought she needed to get more people through her door, which didn't seem hard, but yet she couldn't seem to be able to do that. And so that's why she came to me, because she was really coming to crunch time. And she always talked
Right.
about how hiring me wasn't hard because she'd already done the hardest part of opening the store, which is so true, because that is so
It
scary.
is.
People don't give themselves enough credit for what they do with that, right?
Yes.
Um,
Seriously.
oh my gosh. And what I saw is that her store was frankly just like a big leaky bucket. Foundations of the store had to be plugged up before we could throw more sales in there, before we could try and get more people. When we started working together, she was doing $219,000. And after we installed the KPIs for her expenses and her inventory,
Hmm.
that really firmed up her financial foundation. And then we dialed her inventory in to make sure that she was bringing in the right inventory at the right amount at the precise
Hmm.
right time, and created her dream team so she had more help with it. Makes such a big difference in the business. We reached that goal in only 4 months instead of six. And she went on to, in that first year, go from $219,000 to $268,000. So basically up $50,000, 22%. She actually spent $20,000 less on inventory, which
Hmm.
is like a $60,000 swing that first year. It was
Wow.
crazy. It was crazy. And now she's well past $1 million. I mean,
That's
it's really
amazing.
exciting to see how far
Hmm.
she's come. But for sure, that's a super dramatic story that does not always happen. And I just wanted to let you guys know, y'all know that what's possible, because this is
Hmm.
possible. We've been doing this for a long time and we're really successful at what we do. But also, Krystal, what else? What other changes have you seen?
We've seen our clients, the ones that are seeing that internal growth, changing
Mm-hmm.
their leadership style, changing the way that they are managing their day to day. I mean, I think one of the other favorites that I have is with our client Michelle, that has, she has her children joining her, and we've been working with them and seeing how one who's really focused on buying is changing the way he's working and changing that mindset to
Mm-hmm.
really look at the dollars and the inventory. And then her other child, who is really about the team, she's on boots on the ground in stores, but she really is thinking as a leader, changing the leadership
Mm-hmm.
mindset and
Mm-hmm.
implementing a big difference in these system changes. And she joined us at our intensive this fall,
Early
and
on
it was
event,
just,
right?
oh, it was so great to see her and see that development happen for her, and those changes. And then, of,
Yeah.
of
To
course,
see her
also,
confidence was incredible.
yes,
Like, you're literally changing the relationships in that family in the best possible way.
right, right,
It's really cool.
exactly.
It's really
And
cool.
we have other clients too who join us, and they're over inventoried, so they're working towards taking that down. But then now they're on these group calls and they say, "Gosh, I want to open a second store. I can do it. I know I can." Their goals have gone from just, "I want to increase my annual sales," or, "I want to be able to take a salary," to now, "I want to grow my business." And that's
Mhm.
really fun to see. I've
Mhm.
really enjoyed that.
Yeah, it's really
Hmm.
exciting to see people stepping into seeing what else is possible for them, because
Absolutely.
that's what we see. The other thing I love is how when we talk about being a richer retailer, of course it's about cash, of course it's about getting you more cash, but then it's also about so much more, like what you were sharing about Michelle and Meg's story.
Hmm.
And that's what I really love about this is that you really exhibit how much we care about people individually. And if a person is not ready, you're going to tell them that. I mean,
Right.
we've done that many times before. And
Absolutely.
we have another program that you can go into that might be better. And then you can go through that, create a better
Hmm.
foundation, and then come back in. I mean, that's what I really wanted to talk about is how this isn't about a sale. Although I'm very proud of what we've accomplished and I'm honored to be able to share that with you all, but it's, but it's about a plan, right?
Hmm.
It's not about pushing this, it's about giving people back control. Is there anything else you really want listeners to know about this?
I want them to know that they're not alone. They're not
Mhm,
failing just because they might not be making the dollars they think they should be or the salary. Like they're not alone in this.
mhm,
And
mhm,
the stress that they're feeling isn't because of a lack of effort or anything like that. It's the lack of structure. And that is why I do love, working with our team and working in this business because that is our focus. We are here to help people and we can identify how we can help, where we can make the most impact and move forward from there. And if it's not a good fit, we know it, but if we know the avenues to get to where you want to go, and based off of what you tell us in this conversation, we can clearly identify it. And that's the whole point. The game plan call is to give you that clarity.
mhm,
The
mhm.
Profit Club will give you support, and either way, you're going to walk away with a plan, and that's our goal.
Right, which is the
Absolutely.
most important thing. So if someone's listening and is thinking to themselves, "Yep, this is me." How do they go about booking a call with you, Krystal?
Well, we are going to have the link, I believe, here in the show notes. So you
Mhm,
can just go ahead and click. You'll be able to find my calendar, grab a spot. We'll spend roughly 45 minutes to an hour mapping out your next steps, making some good plans. And, you'll leave with more clarity and hopefully a game plan to really help you reach your goals.
mhm. And this is a free call, you guys. We don't charge for this
Hmm.
call because we really are committed to helping. We have a mission to get 100 retailers past $1 million in sustainable, profitable sales. What sustainable means is that your entire life feels richer. Because what we
Hmm.
know is that you have such a huge impact on your community every single day on what you do. The more sales to us means more service, means you're serving more people. If you're a maker store, it means more people are creating because of you. If you're a clothing store, then more people have confidence in what they're wearing and in how they feel about themselves because of what you do. That's the power of these sales. You're having more impact, and that's what we want to help support people to do. What we know is that it's possible for you to do $1 million in sales, to take home $11,000 a month. And if you want to only work 1 day on the floor, leaving 4 days to do whatever you want, to follow through on all those incredible ideas you have, to spend time with your loved ones, whether they're people or kids or pets or plants, whatever it is. Read a book if you want to. We know this is possible. We're just passionate about giving you the tools that you need to get there. So if you're listening to this and thinking, oh my gosh, this is me, I'm working but can't seem to get to where I want to go, whatever it is, this is your sign. You don't have to figure it out alone. We did this call to explain to you how this works, how this game plan call works. We're going to put it in the show notes for sure. So just click it and grab a time that works for you and spend that time getting clarity, being able to talk to someone who has decades of experience of coaching people, working with people. If this was helpful to you, it would mean the world to us if you'd follow the Richer Retailer podcast, if you would leave us a review and tell us how it impacted you, and share this episode with another retail store owner who feels like they're stuck and who feels like they're doing something wrong. Because it's not that. It's just that you just need a better plan. That's what you
Hmm.
need. And that's what we're here to do. You deserve to have profit and peace and a business that supports your life, not the other way around. Isn't that true?
Absolutely. So important. It should be feeding into your life. And that is the whole idea of a rich retailer.
Mhm.
That's who we are.
Exactly. Thanks so much for listening. And I cannot wait to see you on the next episode of the Richer Retailer podcast. And remember that you are astonishingly fabulous and you are loved. Bye bye, everybody. Happy retailing. Thanks so much, Krystal.
Thank you. See you soon.